colleagues from 17 different places today, which is remarkable. I'm very impressed. I did once in China, but I never did several times in another country, and so I do it in India today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to discuss about the links between the nose and the lower airways. This is known for centuries, but many of my chest physician colleagues do not look at the nose, and many of my ENT colleagues do not look at the lower airways. And my goal is to tell you, when you have a patient with rhinitis, look to asthma. When you have a patient with asthma, look to rhinitis. I'm going to discuss 5 different points today. 1, United Airway Disease. Yes, but. So I think that the but is important. Secondly, ARIA, allergic rhinitis and its impact on asthma initiative from its onset, because I created in 1999 at the WHO meeting to 2016. Then, I want to show you that we need to go from guidelines to integrated care pathways, because most of the rhinitis patients, but also asthmatic patients, are seen by GPs. And only of the GPs in France or in India know the guidelines. 2%? 3%? So we need to do something better. And we need to do it probably with mobile technology, and this is what I will tell you. Then I will discuss the algorithm for the treatment of allergic rhinitis by pharmacotherapy and immunotherapy. And finally, the future therapies or the future management, or better management. So let's start by United Airway Disease. Well, the first person who really described hay fever was Jean Bousquet, and 200 years ago, he presented his case because he was suffering from ocular symptoms at the same season in June, from nasal symptoms and from asthma. So the first description of hay fever was including the nose, the eyes, and the lungs. And we still need to understand that these 3 things are coming together. So we did a few different projects, and this project started because I have a patient, very severe asthma. I treated asthma with oral and inhaled corticosteroids. And when I saw the patient a month later, she was very well for asthma, but she was not satisfied. Why? Because she had rhinitis. So we first did an epidemiologic study. This is the study. And this study shows that, in fact, there is almost all people with rhinitis, with asthma, have allergic or non-allergic rhinitis. And this was a surprise because we're thinking that asthma and rhinitis were going together because of allergy. We did another study, and it was in the big European respiratory cohort with 60,000 subjects. And we found that the prevalence of asthma and rhinitis was almost none with no rhinitis. It was 6% with seasonal allergic rhinitis, 10% with perennial allergic rhinitis, and 16% with persistent rhinitis. So it is clear that not all rhinitis people have asthma, but almost all asthmatic people have rhinitis. There are other studies, this one from Stefano Guerra, and Stefano assessed the onset of new asthma according to the severity of rhinitis. And again, it's moderate and severe rhinitis which matters. So, with your patients, when they're moderate to severe rhinitis, please check asthma. This study is also interesting. It was done by Professor David Price. And in 26,000 subjects, they showed that those with asthma and rhinitis had much more hospitalizations than those with asthma alone. And there is a specific phenotype which is the allergic rhinitis and asthma multimorbidity. Yes, but, well, first of all, we investigate patients by questionnaire, and what we did now, we investigated them using a cell phone, and we used 4 visual analog scales. The first one is, overall, how much are your allergic symptoms bothering you today? Not at all, extremely. Then we ask nasal symptoms, ocular symptoms, and asthma. We also ask what productivity, because it is important to assess this component in rhinitis. And what we found, first of all, it is that in 42,000 days, which is quite a sizable number, there is an extraordinarily good correlation between the visual scale measured how are you today and the visual scale from the nose. Well, correlation 0.87. I think it's difficult to get better. But now we understood better the links between the nose and the other organs. In green, you have the prevalence of rhinitis according to the severity of the disease. Can I do this? I don't have a pointer. Okay. No problem. So in green you have rhinitis. In orange you have work. So what productivity is impaired in rhinitis? In red you have conjunctivitis, and you see that at the far end, when the people are very severe, almost all days are with conjunctivitis. And then you have asthma, but it's interesting to see that for the highest level, in blue, you have a drop in asthma prevalence because you have a phenotype of rhinitis without asthma. So we are going further. And if we assess the severity, we'll find that the severity is going exactly the same way, except for asthma at the very far end, because again, you have patients with rhinitis and without asthma or asthma severity. But the most important issue is this. In fact, the nose and the lower airways are not coming from the same embryologic origin. The asthma is endodermal and rhinitis is ectodermal. Of course, multimorbidity is T2, Th2 associated. But you have remodeling in asthma, you don't have remodeling in the nose, and that's normal, because there is such an inflammatory insult in the nose every day, by pollution, by allergens, by viruses, that if the nose was remodeling, we couldn't breathe. That's as simple as that. So, there is the same inflammatory component, but there is a different structural component, ectodermal and endodermal. Now, ARIA between 1999 and 2016. Well, first of all, the ARIA initiative, allergic rhinitis and its impact on asthma. First of all, as a state-of-the-art for the specialists, the general practitioner, and the healthcare workers. Now we should put the patients. First of all, to update their knowledge of allergic rhinitis. Second, to highlight the impact of allergic rhinitis and asthma. Third, to provide an evidence-based documented revision for diagnosis and treatment, and to propose a stepwise approach for the treatment. But more importantly, it was also to assess the magnitude of the problem in developing countries. 20 years ago, rhinitis was not a major problem in India. Today, I'm sure that rhinitis is a major problem because probably 20 to 30% of the population gets rhinitis. And then, with the International Union Against Tuberculosis and Lung Disease, we have a specific chapter on developing countries. This was the first time a guideline did that. This guideline was published in the Best Journal of Allergy, and it was translated in 52 languages. That's remarkable that we have Mongolian, we have everything, we have Indian as well. But in India, ARIA has not been too well developed, and I am here to develop it now. Then we did an update, but what we also did, it is a full revision in 2010, so 10 years later, because we used the grade approach. You know that the evidence-based systems can use different approaches, and this one was probably what is recommended now by WHO, it's the grade approach. And in this paper, you have a supplement of 560 pages, because every single evidence system is supported by references and at least 2 pages. So if you want to contradict this, you can go and see what was the evidence. And in fact, we had 2 people who tried to say, well, we do not agree, but this was written in this supplement. So what are the different treatments? First of all, should oral H1 antihistamines be used for the treatment of allergic rhinitis? We recommend new generation of oral H1 antihistamines that do not cause sedation and do not interact with cytochrome P450. So this is for desloratadine, for levocetirizine, and fexofenadine. However, we suggest new generation antihistamines that cause some sedation, and then levocetirizine cause some sedation. So there are only 2 recommended drugs, which are fexofenadine and desloratadine. And in fact, this is a study I was leading. You can see in this large study, because it was in 821 patients in the 90s, so it was the largest study done ever. You can see that fexofenadine is as good as cetirizine. But what is important, it is that fexofenadine does not induce sedation, whereas cetirizine induces a sedation which is significantly more than the rest. Levocetirizine causes the same sedation as cetirizine. Well, in fact, the company says that it is half, but in the placebo it's also half. So the ratio is exactly the same. Well, one question here is, if you give a long-term treatment with fexofenadine, does this cause either a reduction of efficacy or a problem for safety? The answer is no. So you can give this treatment, fexofenadine, cetirizine, or desloratadine, for months or years without any problem. I've taken myself oral H1 blockers for a long time, and I didn't have a reduction of efficacy. And there is no problem of safety as well. Now, this is a problem possibly in India, because I know that a lot of patients are still using old generation H1 blockers. And these old generation H1 blockers are inducing sedation, they are inducing also urinary problems, and so on. So it's very important to avoid these old generation H1 blockers. Intranasal corticosteroids, of course, they are very effective, but we all know that. The problem is that most of our patients want to take a pill, they don't want to take a puff. Is it the same in India? In France it is like this. So, it's good to have alternatives. That is to say, during the peak of the symptoms, then you give glucocorticosteroids. Well, I must say that we don't have a combination in France, and this combination may be very effective. We don't have the combination between fexofenadine and montelukast that we have in India. So the ARIA guidelines have been accepted by governments, at least 10 governments. And there is now a new revision. I'm not going to discuss many details of it, because in fact it only gives some small improvement over what was known. ARIA is now in Europe with euphoria. So now we have a guideline. We know that this guideline is correct, but no one used that. So we need to do something else. We need to go from guideline to integrated care pathways. And this is what we have done. MASC is MAC via ARIA, sentinel network. First of all, this is the title of one of my latest papers that I published about 20 since then, but this was published in December. It is Care Pathways, Implementing Emerging Technologies for Predictive Medicine in Rhinitis and Asthma Across the Life Cycle. Care Pathways, Emerging Technologies, because this is what we need to do, and to do predictive medicine when we need. This is one of the action plans of a bigger program, which is called Integrated Care Pathway for Airway Diseases, and this is the EU and WHO. So I think it is a very solid program, and we have Minister of Health among the authors. As I told you, this is fully accepted by the EU. So what I'm going to tell you now is an EU program, and in fact 4 EU programs. But this is one of the key slides of the deck. Why? Because many patients with allergic rhinitis do not consult at all. But many patients self-medicate. They take on their shelves what they have, and they take it in a completely aberrant way. So self-medication is a very important problem there. Second, less in India than in Europe, because pharmacists are probably less important in India than in Europe. In Europe, people go to the pharmacist, and this is the first filter. And probably 70% of the patients go to the pharmacist because it takes several days to get a prescription. So they go to the pharmacist to get something. And then they go to the primary care physician, and they end to the specialist. And for asthma, they may end in emergency care. And if we understand better these care pathways, if we use a single tool for these care pathways, for the patient and for the healthcare professional, then it will be better. And this is what we have tried to do with ARIA. So we first proposed an algorithm for the treatment of allergic rhinitis. And we differentiated 2 groups. Those people who are not treated and see a physician, and those people who are treated. By the way, you mostly see people who are treated and who are not well. How many patients do you see when they are without treatment? Very few. So, what I'm going to show, 2 slides, but the second slide is more important for you. This has been published in the Best Journal of Allergy, and the group of people who have published this is over 250. So first of all, we used a visual analog scale, because this is probably the best system to assess the control of rhinitis. You draw a line and you ask the patient, where are you? If the patient is over 5 out of 10, the patient is not well controlled. If the patient is less, the patient is not badly controlled. So if you have 2 VAS, VAS less than 5, or VAS over 5. Less than 5, you have first line, it is anti-H1, or intranasal corticosteroids, or montelukast, or, many drugs can be used. Now, you reassess quickly, and with our system, we reassess daily, because we have found in 5,000 subjects that people change their treatment daily. They want to be controlled, and if they are not controlled, they increase their treatment without knowledge. So, if the visual scale is low, then you consider step down the treatment. But I'm going to tell you something. The patients stop the treatment by themselves. Who has allergic rhinitis in the room? No one? And the only one to have allergic rhinitis in this room? 2. Well, no more than 2? No one with 3. Come on, raise your hands. Come on. I raise my 2 hands, so it will have, so only 3? Well, you are not in the normal population, because you should have 20%. So about 20 people here. So, do you take your treatment regularly? Yes? Wow, you are a great guy. I don't. Then I write the guidelines. So, well, I'm sorry to say that I'm taking the treatment for that as well. So I've tried to adapt the guidelines to what I'm doing, because then I will be happy to follow my guidelines. So the next step is, if the patient is not well controlled, you step up, and if you still are not well controlled, you consider two things. First of all, you consider an ENT assessment, because possibly it is a problem which is not allergic, but it is an ENT problem, and then you consider immunotherapy. When you have a treated symptomatic patient, well, if you have, again, few symptoms, then usually people step down their treatment. If on the other hand, you have, more symptoms, then you go to intranasal corticosteroids, or you can go to the combination we have in India, we don't have in France, which is fexofenadine, montelukast. This does not exist in Europe. I think it is only in India. So I cannot discuss what it is because we don't know it. And then, if the patient is not well controlled, you reassess again, and you go to immunotherapy. So this is a very complex chart. But now, it is completely digitalized. So the doctor or the pharmacist can assess with 3 clicks what may be the optimal treatment. I'm not speaking for the specialists because we know what to do. But the GPs are usually completely lost. And they have many patients. They see dozens of patients a day, so they need to go fast. Now, there is something quite interesting because there is this drug, which is montelukast and fexofenadine. And it has been tested in 2 studies. In the first study, in August 2013, there was a significant difference. And in fact, montelukast plus fexofenadine showed better improvement in symptoms and less incidence of sedation. Remember sedation, which is an important component, as compared to montelukast and levetiracetam. Well, it's good to have a study, but it's better to have 2 studies. And this is exactly what happened. There is a second study which has confirmed exactly the same data. So I think it is very interesting to see that a combination, which is innovative from India, is of interest in the treatment of allergic rhinitis and may be very important for those patients who only like to get a pill. Now, immunotherapy. Well, immunotherapy, we have 2 types of immunotherapy. One is by injection, the other one is sublingual. By injection, there are very few papers which are of good quality. So, when we do a meta-analysis, people are assessing poor studies. And I think that sublingual immunotherapy is far more validated than subcutaneous immunotherapy. In fact, it has been validated in this study with the Stalagen product, which was for grass pollen. It has been validated for ragweed in this study from the US with the ARIA product. But very interestingly, they have been approved by FDA and by the EMEA. So, in fact, the only allergen extracts approved by FDA are sublingual immunotherapy. And EMEA as well. They are also effective in house dust mite allergy, and I know that house dust mite allergy is a major factor in your country. And there is only one product accepted, which is LK. But what is very interesting, and has been approved in 2015, now they are approved in the US as well. What is very interesting, it is that it is said persistent, moderate to severe house dust mite allergy, despite use of symptoms-relieving medication. It is exactly the wording of ARIA. So the EMA have used the wording of ARIA to register the immunotherapy for mite allergy. Now, the question: shall we use future therapies or better management? Well, as you know, and this is again a study which is done with the European Union. As you know, people today like endophenotyping network of complex diseases. Well, no one knows what it is, but people like it. Well, I try to do that as well. And they like the whole genome sequencing process. So you have a patient with allergic rhinitis, you're going to do endophenotype network of complex disease and the genome sequencing. Or give me a break. And I've done it because I have a paper, I have 40 papers of this project. But today, I prefer the finger approach. So one finger, for VS, it's better to give this one. You put your finger on the cell front on the visual analog scale. And this is probably going to change our practice because it is so simple. Because we need simple things and we don't need complex things. So again, we go to these care pathways and we have developed both a cell phone and a tablet. The tablet for the healthcare professionals, the cell phone for the patients. And in 1 minute, the patient can print his or her own data and bring this to the physician. So the physician, in 1 minute, sees what was the pollen season, what were the symptoms. Because when you see patients, they tell the doctor, I'm not satisfied, it doesn't work. But is it because they don't take a drug, or is it because they're not well controlled? Here, you have this immediately. We are now in 21 countries. Well, I'm going to show you 1 or 2 examples. Well, you know, 2 screens. One, you have runny nose, itchy nose, sneezing, congestion, red eyes, itchy eyes, and watery eyes. And the other one is affect my sleep, restrict my daily activities, restrict my participation in school or work, and after so. And you can see here that you have yes and no, no and yes. For troublesome symptoms, you see that there is an increase of work and school, daily activities, and sleep. But for conjunctivitis, you don't have an increase in sleep. So it's because you have nasal obstruction, serious obstruction that you do not sleep well. And it is because you have ocular symptoms that you don't work well. So this system can help us to understand what the patient is. And also use, as I told you, these visual analog scale measurements. It's very interesting to see that the 3 intranasal corticosteroids have low levels of symptoms. The 3 H1 blockers have higher levels of symptoms. This is in monotherapy, and if you give polytherapy, the patients have worse symptoms. So the guidelines are telling you, you increase the treatment because you want to improve the patient. And I'm telling, well, the patients increase their treatment because they want to be well. But there is a phenotype of patients who are not going to be well despite optimal treatment. So we probably need to better understand these patients and to improve them because rhinitis is impairing work and school activities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for a very insightful session. I think we started